Hey there, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 236 of Sonic Boom TV. This is not one of my normal episodes where I show records that I just bought or whatever. This is a sad episode. My mother on August 5th, 2024, around 12:10 p.m., my mother passed away at 77 years old due to complications led on from dementia. It was kind of expected, but still very sad at the same point. Probably about 5 months ago, we had to put her in a nursing home, which is probably the worst decision I've ever had to make in my life. We put her in this place that, that she could afford, because my sisters, couldn't really afford anything for her, because we didn't, the dementia part came on really fast. And so we made a choice and put her in this place, and I don't know that they were taking the best care of her. I can't really prove anything, but it went from a lot of people, a lot of people that tell me that they had relatives or whatever that have had dementia said it lasted years, and it slowly progressed. Well, hers progressed super fast, and we didn't know she even had it until probably 5.5, 6 months ago, and she passed away last Monday. Today it's Sunday. It's now Sunday. It's like 1:30 in the morning when I'm doing this. I've been thinking about doing this for a couple days, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But I'm here now to do it, and I'm going to show some things. I'm not going to show a lot of things. I'm just going to talk about, how I guess I got into music mainly through her. So my mom's name was Patricia, and Willoz was her last married name. She was 77 years old. She was a good person. She would talk to anyone. And like they were her best friend. I'll tell you guys about that in a bit. But if you notice, there's a bunch of Elvis records back here. These were all hers. I think they were all hers, I should say. I'm not sure about this pink one right here. But the others I know were hers, and I think I have a few more. I do have a bunch of 45s. I didn't pull any of those out. But I think Elvis was probably her favorite. And she liked, things like the Beatles and Beach Boys and that kind of stuff back in the day. Now, I don't know what she was into later in her life, because I don't ever remember her really ever talking about music. But when I was a child, I still have memories from like 3 years old of a lot of things. But when I was a child, the radio was always on. Records were either being played. There was just always music around, and it wasn't like that my mom was a collector, I don't think, but she did like at least what was on the radio. She wasn't, I wouldn't say she was a huge music nerd or anything, but she liked it, and it kind of introduced me to what has become my addiction, I guess. As you see around me and stuff, but she always like listened to the like Casey Kasem's top 40 thing. We did too, growing up, and I can remember listening to that, into the 80s, for sure. She liked to watch like the shows that were on TV, like Solid Gold, which would have music and dancing and stuff. I don't think they had videos at that point. Maybe they had bands or groups come on and sing, but she loved Soul Train. That was her. We had to watch Soul Train every weekend when that came on, and she used to always say it was because she liked to see how the people dressed, and because everybody, there were some pretty flamboyant outfits on that, but we really know she was just watching that dance line thing every week because that's what we wanted to watch too. But she had a bunch of records, and they were probably maybe, it wasn't a bunch of records, but maybe from one of these area, maybe two of these worth of records, and they were all just like 60s and 70s stuff mostly. Some 50s as well, I guess, but they were in a box, and we had a time in our life that we had some problems, and we had to move to a place where it was two houses that were front and back. We called the front house and the back house. My aunt and uncle owned both of them, and we moved into the front house, and they were in the back house. So, and then there was like a little thing my uncle built onto it, attached to it, that was supposed to be like my aunt made pralines. If you don't know what pralines are, they're just like a sugar candy kind of thing. Famous in New Orleans. But my aunt had a shop that she made, and there was some stuff in there. And I think the records were in there, as well as some doubloons, which are Mardi Gras things. Don't know whatever happened to those. I'll be upset for the rest of my life about that. But the records, somehow, I think they were either in there or in the shed that we had out there. But they were in the way, I guess. And I don't know if my uncle moved them, or one of us, not me, but one of the kids that were there, or another, either my mom or my aunt. I don't know who did it. But one day, I come home and they're sitting next to the front door of the front house, and it had rained on them and everything, and I don't know how long they were there. I mean, because I don't remember exactly why I wouldn't have seen them the first day they were there, but they were there a while, I think. And of course I freaked out about it, because at that point I would have been maybe between 13 and 16 years old, something like that, and I was really starting to like, oh, I want to get these records. There's another story with my dad, some records that him and my stepmom had that I never got either, but they were all wet, and I don't know why I didn't decide to pull the records themselves out and just get rid of the covers. I don't know, but the only one of that batch that I still have, that was pretty good. It's got some funk on it, and it's got some, probably mold or something on it as well. But I've had it for 30-something years. And that would be the Beach Boys Surfin' Safari record. It's pretty. The seams are split. It's got funky yuck on it. I may have to try to clean this off again. I haven't played it in a long time. I think it's got a little bit of a warp to it. I can't remember. I have a lot of Beach Boys albums, so this one kind of just been sitting in there for a while. But this one I saved for whatever reason, and don't know why I didn't say the rest. But that box was gone. So a few years later, my grandfather died, and when I went to the house that he's lived in, they were cleaning out things, and they were asking people if they wanted anything. And of course, the kids didn't want anything except for me. And I've got a few things that people are like, oh, I wish I had that. Well, they had an opportunity, and I don't know if my aunts said, no, you can't have anything, or whatever, but I've got this record player that's sitting right here, and I'm going to show it to you guys. Not this video, but I'm going to show it to you soon. I got some boxes on top of it right now, so I didn't get a chance to move it. But there were records in the garage of my grandfather's house. Now, I thought these were all my grandparents' records, and a lot of the records that I have that I inherited, I always thought that those were their records, but I think they were my mom's. So I have a lot of records that were probably my mom's. They range from all kind of stuff, like Dean Martin to some 60s groups, but like Diana Ross, Dolly Parton, all kind of stuff. It's just Commodores. I don't know, just a lot of that old stuff that maybe I don't want to listen to it a lot, but there are songs in there that you're like, oh yeah, I know that song. It's a great song. Let's pull it out or whatever. So I have a bunch of that stuff, and I didn't think that was her stuff until the one day. God, I think it was last year, before she started, the dementia and stuff kicked in. She had said, "Do you have my record player?" And I said, "I think I have Mama and Papa's record player." And she goes, "No, that was my record player." And I was like, "But it was at their house for, as long as I could remember." And she goes, "No, that was mine." And I was like, "Well, why was it there?" She never did tell me why it was there. Maybe she had to move or something and didn't want to throw it out. I don't know. But it was always at their house as far as I can remember. So, when she told me that, I was started thinking oh man, these records must be hers. And there's a few of them in there that I can remember being at my aunt's house. There's a couple like that song Elvira by Oak Ridge Boys. I remember that being at my aunt having that. Now it's possible that they would have had the same things, but I remember my aunt having that, and we would listen to that at their house. So I don't know, but as far as I know, at this point, a lot of those records probably were my mom's. So now that makes me upset that I kind of combined a lot of stuff into my collection. I should have kept them separate, but I didn't. So anyway, I remember going to my grandparents' house, and my grandmother and my mom would always play us records and stuff. And I remember my grandma playing one of these songs mostly, but for my whole life, my mom always said that this was my favorite song. Still had the 45, and it was Glenn Campbell's Rhinestone Cowboy. This is the one. I have another copy of this that I bought recent in the last year or so, but this is the original one that we listened to when I was like 4 years old. This came out in what is it? I think 73, 72 or 73, something like that. And 74. I'm sorry. This came out in 74, so I would have been 3 depending on when it came out, and then probably 4 when I was listening to this, 4 and 5. But it's always my favorite song. I still love this song until this day. Sometimes I go through a phase where I got to listen to it like 20 times. And then there was the best song ever created to make a kid at 4 years old, 5 years old, think that he was listening to something dirty. And you kind of were, but you kind of weren't. And this one came out in 1972. My Ding-a-Ling by Chuck Berry, backed with Johnny B. Good, which is pretty cool. These two songs, I'm so glad that when I die, I want to be buried with these two records. But they played it for us over and over, and it's just a memory that will never go away. Just listening to those songs when I was a little kid, thinking they were the greatest thing ever. So, with that, I always liked music. Like I said, we would listen to Casey Kasem's American Top 40 every week, it seemed like. And, every morning before school, you'd wake up and there'd be a radio on in the kitchen or whatever. We'd be eating cereal or donuts or whatever. And there would always be a radio, and there's always radio on in the car. And just, it was always there. And, even though it wasn't like kind of pushed on me, I got it. and I kept it, and I don't think my sisters or anybody else in my family really got into music like I did. And I guarantee none of them have as much of a collection. They might have MP3s, I don't know, but they don't have nearly what I have, and they probably don't even know what I have, most of them. So it's just one of those things that I'm realizing more and more that it was probably her, that because of her that I do what I do, even though it wasn't like pressed upon me to do so. So I just want to say thank you to my mom for that. It's getting hard to talk, guys. I don't know who I would be if I didn't have my music. Even and there's stuff that like I'd never listen to, but once I have it, it's there, and it needs to stay. I don't get rid of anything, as far as music goes. But I will bring up something that was these are the next two songs I'm going to talk about. Sorry, I'm kind of getting tongue-tied here a little bit. The next two songs I'm going to talk about is two songs I hated when I was a kid. And like 3 years old now, 4 years old, I remember these songs being on the radio. And my mom must have loved them. My sister, I think, loved them too. And I hated them for some reason. I don't know why, but it was always on. And I can remember being outside as a kid, little kid, just out in the, playing in the yard or in the driveway or whatever. And my mom opening the window and putting the radio in the window, playing these two songs. She did it. I can remember her doing it several times, and I hated it. And they would use it against me for some reason because they wanted to pick on me or something about it because I knew I ran out the room when I heard these songs. I love these songs now. I don't know why I hated them back then, but somewhere along the line, I started to listen to them and I was like, I really like those songs. Why did I hate them when I was a little kid? So the first one comes off of the Wings Greatest Hits because I don't have the 45 of this. We may have had it at one point, but I couldn't find it in what I have. But the song is Band on the Run. 1973 that came out. So I would have been 2 when that came out, so 3 or 4, perfect timing. It would have been on the radio. Well, Band on the Run, I used to think for most of my childhood for sure, and probably until I got into college maybe, I always thought that song was called Man on the Run. And I hated it. I hated it. And now I love it. And Paul McCartney is my favorite Beatle. I don't think I knew that it was Paul McCartney or the Beatles back then because it was a Wings song, so I just didn't even know. But because Paul McCartney is like my favorite Beatle, but I don't know. But this has got a lot of good songs on it. If you're into kind of soft rock stuff, sometimes, it's got some good songs on it. So that was one. Excuse me. That was one I hated. But this is probably the song in my entire life that I hated the most, and I really like it now. But I hated it so much back then, and got the 45. It's a little dirty. Needs to be cleaned. It's got a couple little scratches on it. But I can always remember the logo of the Rocket Record Company. I don't know why it's called the Rocket Record Company because it's got a freaking train on it. But Neil Sedaka's Bad Blood. I absolutely hated this song. They probably bought this 45 to play it in the house because they knew I was running out the room when I heard it. I did not like that song. I don't know why, because it's a pretty fun, good song, and so, I got those two songs. These 4 songs that I just mentioned will be the ones that whenever I need to think about my mom is, what I'll probably play to myself. Haven't been able to listen to anything all week, really. I mean, whatever's on the radio in the car, but I haven't been able to sit down and just put something on. I don't know. I got a ton of records. Probably got 20 new records that I got in that I had ordered whenever, and they all came in and they're just sitting here. I haven't even done anything with them. Haven't done a show about them or anything. But I just wanted to do this and say, that my mom was a really good person. Didn't deserve to go out the way she did, and it was terrible, and I feel horrible about it. I don't know what else we could have done, but it's really bad. So I don't ask for much from people, but I kind of think that if you can, because I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to, that maybe donating to the what's it called, the Alzheimer's dementia research thing. I think it's alz.org or something. I'm gonna put a link to it underneath the video. But donate something to them, and if you put it in my mom's name, under, because there's a thing where you can do a tribute kind of thing. If you put Patricia Ann Willoz, Willoz, ANN for the middle name, that would be just great. I wouldn't even know you did it, because I don't even know if you can go on there and look to see what names things are put under. But that, I don't know. I never thought about it, before, as much as how terrible something like that could be. But it was bad, guys. If you've never seen anybody have it, good for you, because it's not good. They see things and they get scared of just anything, and they it's like hallucinating, sort of, I guess, but it's not a good thing, and it happened so fast, and it progressed so fast that I just don't know. But anyway, Elvis, she loved Elvis. I don't remember her playing a lot of Elvis stuff, but I do remember, like, when he died, I think it was in 77, I guess, something like that. I just remember I was at somebody's house, this lady, Miss Patty, and I know I was watching a football game, and I believe it was the Dallas Cowboys and the then Washington Redskins. I think it was then, and when they found out that Elvis died. I don't know exactly. I don't want to say that for sure, but I feel like that's what happened. Maybe not. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that, because I feel like it's maybe next week that he died. I don't know. I know it's somewhere soon. And football season just started, so maybe it was a preseason game. I don't know. But I just remember they took it hard, man. Her, because they all loved him. Back then, all the especially the girls, man. The girls, young girls back then, loved some Elvis. Elvis and the Beatles, man. They just went for that. And it was a serious thing when something bad happened. I remember the crying over Elvis dying. I remember a lot of people were crying about it. And maybe I didn't get it, and I still probably don't get it, because, I've had musical heroes or whatever pass away, and it doesn't make me cry or anything, because, I don't know these people. I just enjoy what they do. So anyway, trying to wrap it up, I guess. It's a hard thing to lose your parents. So tell them you love them. I got to tell her that for sure. She knew it, and I know she loved me and my sisters, and she died. I would say peacefully. I mean, she had me and my sisters and her remaining sister, and my sister's one of my sister's husband was there. we were there for when in her final moments, and it was hard. But I guess I never got to thank her for all this, music stuff that I think she gave to me, knowingly or not, she did, and never got to thank her for that. So I just want to say it now. Thanks, Mom, for providing me with something I love since I was a little kid, and it probably will go on until I'm dead as well. So getting heavy, guys. So let me wrap this up because I'm probably gonna lose it if I keep talking. So anyway, thanks, Mom. Her name was Patricia Ann Willoz, 77 years old. If you guys want to donate to the Alzheimer's Dementia Foundation or whatever it's called, I'll put it in the notes. Please do so under her name. And that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Hopefully, I have another episode coming up pretty soon.